Welcome back to SARA Television, where we're getting to meet the people who are performing on the main stage at the SARA 21st Annual Conference. All of the keynote speakers, all of the key panelists were coming forward and sharing with us, for your benefit here on social media, the best of their takeaway in terms of what they wanted to get the audience to see, to think and feel. With us right now, Anelisa Keke, a senior manager from PricewaterhouseCoopers in the area of reward. And Annalise, you presented an amazing paper today on day one of the conference here. Executive Directors' Pay, Practices and Remuneration Trends.
Yes.
You were very passionate on the main stage. Where did that passion come from and what was your key message?
Thank you very much for asking. I think that passion came from a place where you're a corporate advisor, and yes, you know, you do have to play it cool and stay independent, and you can't necessarily make inflammatory statements.
Sure.
But at the same time, being a corporate advisor gives you a bird's eye view of the corporate landscape and the real priorities on the board agenda. And when you realize that such critical things such as the gender pay gap, such as transformation throughout the organization, are not necessarily featuring at the top of that board agenda where they belong, you have to use whatever platform is available to you to speak out and to influence the corporate, corporate boards, etc., to really start taking those issues seriously.
So you presented a lot of data today from PricewaterhouseCoopers as well. What are the key findings about executive director practices and remuneration trends at the moment?
Well, if I were to summarize it into, say, three main themes, I would say fair and responsible remuneration, fully understanding what that means, and for companies to hold themselves accountable and measure how exactly they are giving, how they're giving life to that concept is absolutely crucial. Simply measuring your internal wage gap, for example, is not enough. You need to start thinking about the living wage. Don't simply take the minimum wage at its face value. So that's one. The other one, I think, would definitely be about gender parity and gender diversity, because ultimately all of the issues that we've discussed today throughout with all of the speakers about grinding unemployment that doesn't seem to go down at any point, about this persistent gap in pay based on gender, based on race, based on religion and other grounds. We need to do something, and we need to be bold and decisive and understand that there are some stakeholders who aren't going to like it, but we need to start putting sustainable measures in place to reduce those gaps and to finally address those social challenges once and for all. The third issue, I think, would be, and now I'm doing this for my institutional investors, is to really start unpacking what meaningful shareholder engagement is. So companies need to stop taking the path of least resistance and really start grappling with their shareholders about what exactly the shareholders expect from them from a remuneration perspective. What kind of value is it supposed to create for the shareholders and for the broader public? And ultimately, they need to start taking those shareholders seriously. As I said in the presentation, a simple, superficial phone call after a bad result at your annual general meeting is simply not enough.
It's got to be exposed, got to be brought out into the open. Are you finding more and more corporates getting into this transparency age at the moment?
Definitely. I think, there is a groundswell from obviously the government, but also investors and the broader public and the media, that we really need to start emphasizing transparency. And we've seen some of the biggest companies in the JSE top 40 for the first time really opening their doors and welcoming scrutiny into their pay practices, which is encouraging. But there's still much to be done, particularly amongst the smaller and the medium and small cap companies on the JSE who aren't under the same level of scrutiny, but still,
as the public companies are themselves,
exactly, but still need to take responsibility for how exactly they're perceived and increasing their transparency.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for an outstanding presentation today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for stepping by and seeing us at SARA TV. A real pleasure to have you.
Great.
Thank you
so much, Michael.